Happy Friday. Woohoo. We're back
Yay, Friday.
and we are primed and ready to go. Welcome to the IT Hour, everyone. We've got some new faces in the chat here. So, welcome to the new folks and welcome to the regulars that we have coming on. You're all very welcome to be here, and we're happy to have you. Brett has some big news. I may be real IT, not shadow IT soon. No more scurrying back to dark corners when the door is opened. Congrats, Brett. We look forward to hearing more when that is official. So I'm Becky Scott. Been around for a while on the IT Hour, and Urvashi is our technical champion. And Tom and Joel are back, regular faces on the IT Hour. And today we have John from Amazon, who is going to tell us a little bit about the Verified Access Partnership. And then Joel and Tom are going to talk a little bit about what we're doing with that. So it's going to be a fun conversation today. And our usual schedule looks like community, product news, and then we will jump into the big topic. And then if we have time, we will chat a little bit about what's going on in the IT news. So to get started, we have what is turning out to maybe be our annual holiday favorite things list. So I'll put that in the chat. Please go and tell us what you're wishing for your gifts this year, if you celebrate and give gifts. Tell us what you've been using that you really love. Maybe give us ideas on what we might want. I may or may not have that little dumpster fire behind Tom, the plushie version, on my list because it looks adorable and squishy, among other things. So yeah, tell us what you have or what you would like to have. It can be tech related or not. I mean, it doesn't have to be. But please go join in. I know Rob has already given some stuff because I called him out in the Slack lounge because he participated last year. And I said, well, you and Kelly and Keith participated last year, so you have to do it again this year. So yeah, please join us in that. We'll have some fun with it. And Chris Tate has done some partner success interviews and posted that on the MSP discussions. Jurgen has done yet another Python update, ChatGPT Jump Cloud Assistant with a fast API. So definitely go check that out. He's been a whirlwind of scripts recently. And then Rob, thank you, Rob, has also put something in scripts, disable Microsoft Store auto content delivery. Apparently, he was frustrated enough with that auto content delivery to figure out a script to stop it. So, sometimes frustration is the mother of invention, I guess.
He's also trying to start a class action lawsuit in the comments, so if anybody wants to join him, you can.
That's funny. Oh, and Steven bought the new Steam Deck. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, for me, my new thing that's making my holiday season joyful and bright are the Nanoleaf Christmas lights. Nanoleaf is a maker of HomeKit products, or excuse me, the smart home lighting solutions. I have a set of their hexagons, or excuse me, their triangles on my wall in front of me as my stage light, and then we got some of their Elements panels, various places in the houses. But their Christmas lights are amazing, high fidelity, solid 60 some odd feet of really great programmable LED lamps. And they're a little spendy, but it looks like they're going to be really solid, performers in terms of, the different house functionality that's available there. So timing capable, will rotate through scenes, all sorts of amazing stuff like that. So I'm super excited for that. I'll put those links into the favorite things channel there for us. So
we want pictures too.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll put a little video of the front porch because we just did. We put up some pine garland and some bows and some stuff like that. But yeah,
You come to my house. and set things up if you want to, Tom.
I will take you up on that. And I was gonna say I'll bring Charlie with me because he was helpful this year. That's the
Fantastic.
first time that as a 10-year-old, he was like, "Yeah, Dad, I want to help," and like he didn't want to actually help; he just wanted to hang out. And so I was like, "Cool, that's fine." Anytime we get to spend together, it's good.
Yep, that's good. All right, so let's see. Product releases and announcements. We have hot off the press a JumpCloud Go technical white paper. So Scott posted
Yeah.
that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit,
I
Tom?
do want to talk about that a little bit because we've talked a lot about how JumpCloud Go works, and we're going to talk more about it today. But getting deep into the technical analysis of how do we escrow those keys correctly? How do we make sure that those keys can't leave devices? How do we make sure that everything works the way that it's supposed to? That requires a lot of trust from the world out there. And by publishing a white paper on how it operates and what the flow is between JumpCloud and our devices and the authentication mechanisms that are involved, you can really understand and trust that we're doing exactly what we say we're doing. And so, we're really excited that that white paper's out. Folks can read up on how JumpCloud Go operates, and Scott and team did a really tremendous job making that into a reality. So please go check out the technical white paper there. If you're not using JumpCloud Go and you're using JumpCloud for SSO, you absolutely should be. So, and we'll talk about another great use case today.
Mm-hmm. I actually just read it yesterday or the day before, so it was really interesting. It was really well done.
And like a lot of technical white papers are super dry. This one isn't that. This one is, a really solid, human approachable solution for understanding how the product works. Because we're going to get into some of the details, and it helps if you've got a huge background in it. But this has to be understandable by everybody in the marketplace. And so we spent a lot of time making sure it's well written. And I'm excited about that. I'm proud of our teams for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I understood it, so you succeeded.
Woohoo!
All right. So moving on, we are going to let John and Joel and Tom talk about the Amazon Verified Access Partnership. Now, John's going to start out and talk about his part of the deal. He's got a few slides to share, and then he's going to give us his part, and then Joel and Tom are going to talk about what JumpCloud is doing with the Verified Access Partnership. So, John, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do at Amazon, and then start showing us your piece of the puzzle?
Yes. Let me start first by introducing myself. Becky, thank you for allowing me to be here with you and your team today. And my role at AWS, basically, I am a partner solution architect. I am responsible for creating and driving the technical strategy with our ISV partners, such as JumpCloud. And I also play a lead role on go-to-market products built on or integrated with AWS. Yep. So I can go into the presentation.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right. So I'm going to talk about AWS Verified Access and how it can help you provide secure access to corporate applications without VPN. And this will be my agenda today. So we're going to dive in and talk a little bit about connectivity challenge that customers are experiencing and how AWS Verified Access help resolve these. And I'm going to talk a little bit about AWS Verified Access, what it is, and then go into how it works. And then after that, I'll transition to Tom. So I hope you'll be excited about AWS Access just as I am. So let's get started. So at AWS, we really prioritize offering diverse connectivity options to meet our customers' needs. Whether it's connecting to applications, resources, or workload, we make it possible. So many of our customers, they utilize on-premises VPNs, and we support these customers with side-to-side VPNs, with Direct Connect and Cloud One. And for those customers who prefer a direct link to our applications, we introduced AWS Client VPN. Then we started to hear from customers that they needed a simpler yet secure connectivity to access their resources. Customers were asking to connect to their AWS resources from any location using a simple browser and have control over who can access their applications at what particular time and with what particular from what particular devices. Essentially, these customers were asking for zero trust access. So at AWS, we believe that zero trust is a conceptual model, and you should not rely on networks or network perimeters. You should also use non-network based controls to provide access for your users to your applications or any resources for that matter. So let's unpack how this looks. In a traditional network model, it says that once you're on the network, you can access your applications. But zero trust principle says that let's use other signals. For example, identity. Now, why stop at identity? We can use even more signals. We can use devices posture and identity together to allow the users to access the network. Why even stop at identity and device? We can even use more real-time contextual signals to let customers access applications. Then the second thing is that once you are on the corporate network, traditional method says that you can always access any applications. Zero Trust, on the other hand, says that you have to perform continuous validation. You have to check the identity, check device posture with each request. So when I try to access my application, it checks. Then the next time I try to access another application or even the same application, the validation happens again. So it is a continuous validation process with Zero Trust. Now, let us explore from a traditional versus Zero Trust perspective. Traditionally, if you are in the headquarters of your company, you access applications via the corporate network. Remote locations like home or another site require VPN logins for access. Opening a new branch office involves connecting it to the corporate office, to the corporate network, a process that can take weeks or months. Zero Trust shifts that paradigm. Applications become the focal point of your IT infrastructure. Therefore, access is defined by policies surrounding the applications, not the network. Whether you're at the headquarters, working remotely, or at a new branch office, you simply connect to your applications. Policies validate and grant access, eliminating the need for VPNs and extensive network setups. Now, let's see from a security perspective what it looks like. If someone gets a hold of one of your server in a traditional method, since the server is in your corporate network, they can use this server and potentially access your applications. In a zero trust environment, since we are saying that it will do continuous validation, access to your application will be denied. Because zero trust, when you first access your application, it verifies. Then each subsequent access request is also verified. If someone were to gain access to one of your servers, then obviously they would try to gain a foothold into your application. What will happen in this case? Well, either the identity or the device posture will not match. So access to that application will be denied in a zero trust environment. The current solution that we see customers are using, and they have been using that for a number of years now, to incorporate zero trust capabilities into their networks. So the current setup typically involves protecting the perimeter with VPNs and firewalls. And remote access is governed by VPN policies. Application developers would coordinate with the security team to integrate identity-based access control, setting specific policies for who can access what. Meanwhile, the IT team would enforce device compliance policies, allowing only approved devices on the network. This results in multiple layers of policies managed by different teams, making policy changes or new application integrations time-consuming, often taking days or even weeks. It is in response to this that AWS developed AWS Verified Access to streamline this process. So with AWS Verified Access, in looking back from the needs of our customers, we knew we could do better. We knew we needed something with less assembly, something that can provide continuous verification and provide you more context so that you have enhanced security posture. So introducing AWS Verified Access. Basically, AWS Verified Access simplifies connectivity for users, enabling application access from anywhere. It enhances security teams' posture by adhering to AWS Zero Trust principles. It gives you the ability to set fine-grained application-specific controls using real-time signals like identity and device posture. From a management standpoint, it is streamlined. Policies for each application can be managed in one place. Adding applications and updating policies is just a few clicks away, reducing time from days or weeks to mere minutes. So for the IT operational folks, you'll be happy to use AWS Verified Access to manage your policies. So this is how it looks previously, but now with AWS Verified Access, from a connectivity perspective, users no longer need to use VPN. From a security perspective, you can manage your application access policies from one single place. Now let's look inside how AWS Verified Access works. It does three things. The first thing that it does is that it offers precise control over application access. Basically, you can set specific policies for each application. For instance, finance team members can access their applications only with compliant devices under certain specific conditions, while everyone else can access the corporate IT help desk. So you can define those fine-grained policies. Secondly, AWS Verified Access meticulously log all access requests, whether they are allowed or denied. This feature is invaluable for our customers because they now can use this rich data for troubleshooting, for audits, compliance, and investigating security incidents. Third, we are focused on creating an open ecosystem. Recognizing the challenges of transitioning to Zero Trust, AWS Verified Access integrates with existing security systems like identity and device security providers. Our goal is to simplify this transition to Zero Trust. While we allow you to maintain your current systems while enhancing access control with AWS Verified Access. In the AWS Verified Access ecosystem, our partners, such as JumpCloud, play pivotal roles across three main areas. We have identity providers. These partners manage corporate identities, define user roles and departments. And we collaborate with major identity providers, JumpCloud among one of them, to facilitate integration using standard protocols. Then we also have device management partners. In this category, they're focused on securing devices and endpoints, which JumpCloud is one of them. And we use their security signals to integrate them to shape your access policies. Then we have providers that give you contextual signals. We're partnering with firms like this to offer additional contextual signals like location and behavior analytics, aligning with Zero Trust principles that more signals equate to enhanced security. Additionally, we have partners who specialize in analyzing AWS verified access logs, offering valuable insights for audit compliance and troubleshooting. Lastly, we have our managed connectivity providers who give us the ability to look at foundational components and create and manage comprehensive connectivity solutions that extend beyond AWS to other cloud services and on-premises environments. These partners ensure a holistic approach to your connectivity needs. So these are some of the partners that we work with to integrate with AWS Verified Access. Now let's dive deep into how you integrate with identity and device trust partners such as JumpCloud. So for identity partners, we have 3 ways you can integrate. If you are already using an identity provider, you just integrate with the AWS IAM Identity Center. This acts as an identity hub from which AWS Verified Access user can retrieve user information. What is the benefit to that? Well, once identities are in the Identity Center, they can be utilized for various AWS services, including AWS Verified Access, Grafana, or IoT devices. If you don't have an existing identity provider, the Identity Center can be used to manage your user pools. Then your third option will be if you can directly integrate your identity provider with AWS Verified Access using OpenID Connect. So for device management perspective, partners like JumpCloud oversee the devices and endpoint security. Integration with these partners allow the use of their signals for policy definition, including contextual signals like location and behavior analytics, providing better security. Well, many of our partners in this category, they run an agent on devices to monitor and determine compliance. To facilitate this, AWS developed a browser extension. This extension used on user devices communicates with our partners' agents to gather information such as device compliance and operating system details. When accessing an application, this extension sends device claims along with the HTTP request. Note that this browser extension is only necessary if your policy utilizes device claims. If device claims aren't part of your policy, a standard browser can be used. So how do you set up AWS Verified Access? Setting up AWS Verified Access is straightforward and involves just 4 steps. First, you create a Verified Access instance in the AWS region where your applications are hosted. Then you connect to one of our partners such as JumpCloud, who is a provider for identity and device management, allowing Verified Access to receive the necessary data. Second, you add or you associate your applications with AWS Verified Access. These applications may be in different accounts or VPC. Third, practicing least privilege principle, initially the default policy is set to deny all. So you will need to configure your specific policies, your specific access policies. And lastly, after setup, users can connect seamlessly from their laptops without any change to the application name. So they would basically type the application URL like myapplication.com to access it. These are the top use cases that we have for AWS Verified Access. The first one, secure distributed users. So with AWS Verified Access, users can access their corporate applications based on AWS Zero Trust principles using multiple security signals like identity, location, and device security status. AWS Access evaluates each request in real time against security requirements as defined in the policy to ensure secure access to the applications. The second use case that we have is to manage corporate application access. And using AWS Verified Access, IT administrators can define the policies and onboard new applications within minutes. IT administrators can also use AWS Verified Access to build a set of fine-grained policies using security data like device security status and up-to-date software, security software that defines a user's ability to access each application. And the benefit of that, instead of fine-tuning multiple policies across your layers of protection, you can simply update the policy in AWS Verified Access centrally to reflect the new requirements to access applications. Then the third use case that we have, most common use case, is to accelerate time to troubleshoot. So AWS Access, as mentioned before, evaluates each access request and logs all request data, including security signal input used to authorize or deny requests. So this provides a complete visibility to the network team into corporate application access requests, thereby enabling them to quickly gather data and intelligence to direct faster response. So this is our current list of AWS verified partners. We are happy to work with you and your partner to expand this open ecosystem. As you can see, JumpCloud is one of our AWS Verified Access partners. Well, thank you. This is my contact information, and I appreciate you giving me the time to speak to you about AWS Verified Access. And now we're going to transition to Joel. We'll talk more about what they're using, how they're using AWS Verified Access.
Thanks for that, John. Yeah, we're really excited. I think we got into this probably only about a month or two ago. A year ago, when Verified Access, and if you're cool, you call it AVA, right, John? Just
that's right.
Put that out there. So everybody can be on the same page. So we started working with Amazon about a year ago on the identity side, which was cool, right? And part of it was because anything that works with Identity Center can be piped through to AVA. So then it makes it really nice and easy that if you've got a resource, a service, something running in your VPC in your Amazon tenant, you may not want to really have to do a lot of work to mess around with, okay, how do we protect this? How do we keep this secure? How do we add this zero trust flavoring to it? And so AVA then works out really nice as it's just an ingress method into your VPC. Real nice and easy, and you can use all the plumbing and the normal piping that you already have within Amazon. All those other Amazon toolings that you have just work. So that was really cool. About a month or two ago, we started thinking about, hey, we got this really cool JumpCloud Go stuff. And we're minting a lot of tokens. It's got a hardware-backed key pair. There's a fantastic white paper that just got released that will walk you through all that stuff. So you should definitely look at that if you haven't already. It's another throw to that white paper. So there's some really cool stuff in there. And we wanted to incorporate all of that into AVA and add that devices piece. Because what, John, you already mentioned is that prior to when JumpCloud came on from the devices side, there's an Amazon AVA Chrome extension that you can use, and that can work with some of the other partners that are doing the device trust. We wanted to do it even easier. So if you have JumpCloud Go already enabled for your browser, you don't even need the Amazon Chrome extension. We will automatically be adding in the JumpCloud Go JWTs that you need to for all of those AVA requests. I believe we're currently working with a 5-minute time period. So if your device becomes unmanaged or you remove it from JumpCloud or anything that you would do, changing the user's password that would invalidate JumpCloud Go for that user, within a few minutes, you're going to get blocked from all of your access that you have with AWS Verified Access, which is why we're really excited about this, because it's that very high fidelity of knowing when something has changed and when your security posture has made something that you might want to re-authenticate, reevaluate, do those kinds of things. So we've just started kind of scratching at the surface of what we want to do here. You're going to see us coming out with more continuous conditional access and other kind of flows, very heavily predicated on Jump Cloud Go. So if you're somebody that wants to use this, you can go, as kind of John showed you through some of the slides, go to your Amazon console, go to, I think it's VPC, and then verified access, set up a new one. You'll have two options, one for identity and one for device. Jump Cloud will be in both of those. Say identity, you can flow through Identity Center, or if you want to create just a standard OpenID Connect flow, you can just punch in an OpenID Connect app from the Jump Cloud console if you want. I don't know that I've got an opinion one way or the other, although it can get a little philosophical. You may not have control of your Identity Center setup because your IT team may be managing that. So if you want to do, and I won't call this shadow IT, but if you want to do some testing with this and you maybe only have limited abilities within the AWS console, you can actually, again, like I said, just put in a raw OpenID Connect app into that verified access setup. So that gets the identity part, which is really cool. Then there's another option, which is the devices, and there's pull down for Jump Cloud. You just do that. All we're going to ask you for is your tenant ID, which you can find in your admin console. Tom's going to tell me exactly where that is. Admin console security, I think, or info, somewhere there. Get your tenant ID, put that in, and then boom, you're done. As long as you've got the Jump Cloud Go extension on there, we're going to be adding those JWTs with a 5-minute signature into the services. So it'll just be flying like that. Really cool stuff. All right. So questions before we get into what we're kind of doing with this internally. I don't see anyone.
I haven't seen any yet. They're kind of quiet in the chat.
Well,
A little quiet.
all
today.
right. So internally, and maybe this will give you some ideas of how you can use this. We have a couple of different apps that we use, a lot of cases for our customer service teams, that when you might have a ticket, when you might have a question or something like that, the customer service teams use these apps to just get better understanding of what your Jump Cloud tenant looks like and what you're doing. Obviously, those are somewhat sensitive. We want those to be very highly protected. Currently, those are all behind some VPN infrastructure. And that's not to say VPNs are bad. VPNs are great. But you're on mute, Tom.
Tom,
Tom,
do you
you're
hear
still
us?
on mute.
You're on mute.
Now you're not.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Technology. It's, teaching Sand to do math remains one of our greatest achievements and mistakes. But, when we think about, the kind of, technology is being used here, VPNs have their own overhead, right? Like you may be paying for a service on top of your AWS bill. You may be, paying for a license on top of every user that you have associated with it. There are a lot of costs that to an organization for adopting like a Zscaler or a Palo Alto Cortex or, any of these other kind of tools that are based on this regard, and being able to simplify that down to a tool you already pay for, like Jump Cloud, to manage your identity and to manage your devices, and to be able to empower that tool across your entire fleet, Windows and Mac, is a huge substantial increase in the ability of, your organization to be safe and sound. Stephen asks a really important question. Is this a replacement for VPN, or is this be beside a VPN? And my general thought process is this kind of replaces that VPN functionality for applications that are held within your Amazon AWS environment.
Yeah, and to keep in mind, right now, verified access is purely just web-based, and there's goods
Correct.
and bad things to that, right?
Yep.
You've got this idea that you don't need a client whatsoever, as long as your user has a browser. And this goes back to like a lot of our customer service reps. If you've got users working remote, things like that. If they've got a browser, now you've got a much better security posture that you can enforce on some of these applications. You don't have to worry about a client getting installed, and you don't have to worry about them maybe going other places because it's very
exactly
streamlined into just that application that's on there. So other things that I think are really unique to Jump Cloud, and I'm glad we have them. We're the only provider with Ava that does both identity and device trust at the same time. with the other providers that you have out there, you're kind of using some identity provider and then a different device management service. Since we do both, we're there for you both right in there. And we're the only device provider that does this for both Windows and Mac at the same time. So we think that makes this journey so much easier if you're trying to roll this out across a larger fleet. You've got mixed environments and things like that. And we are very much looking at the impact of this on Linux. So if you do have a use case or a need for this on Linux, please let us know. That's going to help us maybe prioritize that, push it out a little bit faster, because we do think that it should just work. So if you do want to have Ava on Linux, which otherwise, from a device perspective, there's nothing that you can do with that today with any vendor. So we're looking at through that as what we can go through there. Managed browsers through Google Workspace should just be perfectly fine. It's literally just the Jump Cloud Go Chrome extension, and then it's just adding a JWT as a cookie under the covers is how it works. And then on the Ava side, and this is really cool, and John, I don't think gave this enough attention. Amazon's got this very cool conditional, or I guess policy language called Cedar. And Cedar allows you to really pick apart, have a lot of options, and you can take that JWT that we supply with this information that you have on there from Ava, and you can write very elaborate Cedar policies to determine it's 8 a.m., you're coming from this IP address, your username is this, your device is managed by Jump Cloud, the time is right. All of those things can be put through there. Cedar can be a little bit daunting at first because it is a very, very powerful policy language, but it does have some really cool stuff that you can do. And as we decorate the Jump Cloud Go JWT with more attributes, more information in it, we're really excited at what people can do with Cedar to kind of parse those things through.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you mentioned Cedar. I just didn't think I didn't want to make it too lengthy and start going to policy writing. I didn't know how many people would start leaving. But yes, Cedar was created specifically for, well, AWS Verified Access is one of the policies that was, services that it was created for. So really cool the way that you can use it and with a bunch of if else, and it's very fast and allows you to basically create your policies and not have to kind of rewrite them for each application.
Yeah, we're excited at what the future holds. As you see us do more, again, like I said, with continuous conditional access, we want you as the admin to be able to have a lot more filtration opportunities here as you can go through that. And for the user, I mean, this is really, we've done some demos of this internally, and people are like, well, wait a minute, what happened? And we're like, no, everything happened. It was fantastic. You went to a URL and it just worked. That was exactly the way it was supposed to happen. And if you're not using Jump Cloud Go, you should run, not walk, to start using Jump Cloud Go on your systems, because it's a fantastic user experience to just keep them re-authenticated with local hardware backed keys. And so integrating that into Ava was really nice. You're going to see us do, more with Jump Cloud Go and maybe other services and other things that you could do going forward, as that's someplace we're spending a lot of time with. And this is a great example of it.
Well, I think it's really exciting to think about all the possibilities that this represents for organizations out there to have really great private applications and to have applications that are so private that you can, trust them with, trust AWS with their functionality and their execution, but really lock down who can have direct access to those devices, in a place where, there's just no way around it. And, having a network layer kind of, as well as systems layer, as well as authentications layer, set of security procedures associated with your individual application, you can rest comfortably knowing that, that's not an application that can be accessed from outside of your device fleet. And if you've kept your device fleet in good working order and your authentication solution within good working order, you can trust that's a really secure application posture for your organization, especially for those people who have customer data in databases and services. And that it's a whole fortress. And Urvashi is exactly right. It's a whole fortress of protections that verified access and Jump Cloud together help you own and control. So I feel really great about the the future that Ava really represents alongside Jump Cloud Go. So
I agree, and I wanted to say also internally, we have used verified access to replace many applications that we used to access via VPN. And it used to be a pain for me each time I log in and I have to log into VPN. And then once we started transitioning to verified access, some application would be part of it because it was a phase approach. And then with some application I would have to log into VPN, and then some I didn't have to. Now it's like pretty much 99% of all of our applications all connected using AWS verified access, which makes it much easier, much safer, and the overhead is it's less.
absolutely.
And here I am still entering SMS one-time passwords to log into my bank. Everybody needs to get on this.
All of the different ways in which we have to, authenticate securely to our environments. Yeah, it's varying degrees of security. When that gives us a really interesting opportunity to kind of talk about the different, the authenticator levels that are available as part of multi-factor authentication. And Jump Cloud's, solution in this case is, an AAL3, high level of certainty. Multi-factor authentication that takes place there because it is really, really a protected set of credentials that can't be separated from your operating system environment. And so Jump Cloud Go really is the most secure way to partner with Ava and to really protect your environment. Lots of great stuff. But
I have a question that often comes up, in our communities, which is, have there been any sort of like cautionary tales that people need to plan for, any prerequisites that maybe often get skipped? Because that's something that gets talked about a lot in our communities, is how do we make sure that we've got everything set up in the right order? Following the documentation is one thing, but then there's always like a surprise.
We've done a couple of setups with Ava, specifically with Jump Cloud Go. And it is kind of on rails. I mean, you have to opt into a lot of these things, right? So setting up Ava isn't going to give you access to the whole internet. It's very limited to just things in your virtual private cloud. And you have to, do all the routing rules and everything within AWS. So obviously get those rules correct. Is if you point it to the wrong service, that's going to be bad. But there's nothing that will accidentally happen in that flow, right? You've got to go through, set up the right subnets and everything else that it's got access to and it's flowing in. Other than that, I mean, the big gotchas are make sure Go is working. So if you don't have Jump Cloud Go working today, make sure you can sign in. We've got some documentation on that, and that you're seeing that little cloud and shield that's verifying your device and your user when you connect into some of the Jump Cloud resources. So if that's in there, the rest of this should be pretty simple. Jump Cloud's already making sure your agent's up to date. So as we put new things in, that'll be in there. All the Jump Cloud Go pieces shipped a while ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because we came out. I think we launched on the 16th of November. So they've been out for almost a month now. There was a Chrome extension update, but that came out in the beginning of November. So you need to make sure you're on the latest of all those things, but most of those should happen automatically. If you're not using Chrome, if you're not forcing the Jump Cloud Go extension through Chrome, that's a recommendation, because that just makes it real easy for everybody. There's no questions that they have to use there. And then as soon as they sign in to Chrome with one of your accounts, push it through the Google Chrome Cloud Browser Administration. There's some acronym that I always mess up for that. So Chrome extension being pushed and forced, fantastic. That'll be updated automatically. The Jump Cloud agent gets updated automatically. So then it's really a process of going out and just setting it up in AWS. And again, this won't just automatically happen. The user has to go to a URL. So when you set up Ava, you get a URL public facing that you can use. So you've got to set that up and go through there. And so there may be a little bit of IT work that you have to figure out. Can your private application that's in Amazon handle a different URL, maybe smooth out some of those things. But those should be pretty simple and won't be really that unique to this flow. Mostly just if you were going to be doing any sort of reverse proxy work or anything like that, it would be very similar.
Another question I'm thinking of based on the questions we get a lot. Are there any policies that might accidentally contradict the setup requirements? Because every now and then, a weird combination of
Sure.
security policies and settings will accidentally make something not work.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to at that point have a policy to ban the Jump Cloud Go extension and enforce the Jump Cloud Go extension, because that's going to be a pretty complicated, undefined condition to resolve.
Not allowed on the internet.
I was going to say, you were going to want to make sure that internet access is available to your devices, especially if they want to use the internet to access an Ava application.
But the internet is not secure, Tom. True. Be allowing people to go
this again
online.
Goes back to teaching San to do math. We have made a tremendous leap forward, all at the cost of everything. So yeah.
Cool, good to know.
But we do look forward to people finding new and unique ways to do this. I mean, definitely things are still pretty early for us. But yeah, in the general sense, I do think it is pretty simple and pretty straightforward to set this up. If you do run any confusion, please let us know. We've got a number of avenues that you could talk to us, and we'd love to hear about your experiences, what you're using it for, and where you want to go next with it.
Absolutely. IT admins are, in fact, nothing if not creative. That's for very true.
Yes. So if they can find a way, they might. They probably will. Right. Anything else you wanted to bring up on that topic, or do you think we flogged that horse enough for now? There'll be more later.
Well, I'd love to hear. I'd love to plant the idea with everybody who's listening today. If there's a use case that you have in mind for using Ava with Jump Cloud, we'd love to hear about it. Drop us an email. My email is real easy. It's tom.bridge@jumpcloud.com, and I'll get you connected with John and Joel if we think it's appropriate. But we think that there's a huge amount of opportunity out here for making this an incredible success within your organization. And if you've got some things that you want to talk about, we would love to hear about it. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting everything you need from us, especially in implementation time. So please drop us a note. We're very curious to get this explored.
Yeah, we always love hearing examples of what y'all are doing and how creatively you can avoid tedious tasks, Rob. But that's the best way to use your skills, is to get rid of the annoying tasks by automating them, and then spend your time on the more interesting things. So
yep.
A good way to do it.
I would rather spend 6 hours automating something than spending 6 minutes doing the thing.
But then from that point forward, you won't have to do it anymore. So there you go.
High five, Rob.
Even with your background, it's still going to do you forgot to turn off the effects.
Did I? No.
You darkened. Yes, you got... Yep, it still works.
Oh yeah, turning it off now.
All right, well, we've got about 10 minutes left. We could talk about the news.
Ooh, did anything happen this week?
Did anything happen, Urvashi?
There are 3 updates from CISA. You guys, brace yourselves. Is everybody ready?
No, but go ahead and give it to us anyway.
So this is my pitch for why we should all disconnect from the internet entirely. Is these 3. So let's go offline, everybody. The first one: Russian FSB cyber actor Star Blizzard continues worldwide spear phishing campaigns. So that's from CISA. The Russia-based actor, formerly known as some long thing that reads like Seaborgium, continues to successfully use spear phishing attacks against targeted organizations and individuals in the UK and other geographical areas of interest for information gathering activity. So they have in the past targeted sectors including academia, defense, government organizations, NGOs, think tanks, and politicians. And then in 2022, they appeared to expand further to include defense industrial giants, as well as the US Department of Energy facilities. So that's happening. All of these links will be in the show notes, and they have all of the mitigation steps included there. So make sure you go through those. The next one from CISA is threat actors exploit Adobe Cold Fusion CVE 2023-26360 for initial access to government servers. So it was confirmed that the exploitation of CVE 2023-26360 by unidentified threat actors at the Federal Civilian Executive Branch Agency. So this vulnerability presents an improper access control issue impacting Adobe Cold Fusion versions 2018 and 2021. So, and it results in arbitrary code execution. So if anybody's using Adobe Cold Fusion,
Still,
uninstall it.
in 2023, please check your calendar and call your office. You may be experiencing time travel.
Yes. So if you're not updating things, it's really that you should.
No surprise that there are government entities that are still
Correct.
using things from 2018. Like none of us are surprised about that.
And the final one from CISA is IRGC-affiliated cyber actors exploit PLCs in multiple sectors, including U.S. water and wastewater systems facilities. So this is a highlight to continued malicious cyber activity against operational technologies, technology devices by the Iranian government affiliated with the Advanced Persistent Threat cyber actors. They are using the persona Cyber Avengers and are actively targeting and compromising Israeli-made Unitronics Vision Series programmable logic controllers. So again, the US government needs to uninstall some things, upgrade some things, unplug some things. Deep breaths, everybody. The next one is after all of the stuff has been happening with Microsoft and OpenAI. The UK's competition regulator is reviewing Microsoft's links to OpenAI, so they're considering an investigation into Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI to decide if it has resulted in an acquisition of control, which is subject to antitrust law. So that's happening in the UK, and we'll see what happens. They've just started the investigation, so they're just like asking for statements from Microsoft and from OpenAI, so we'll see what happens to that.
You know, there was some really interesting things going on at OpenAI recently. Did we talk about this in the last couple of weeks? I don't think we did. So their CEO got kicked out. Microsoft took him on. There was a big shakeup on the board. They brought in a temporary CEO who was a woman. Then they kicked her out when she said
when she supported Sam Altman, yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a call from a bunch of employees to get rid of the board because they also supported Sam Altman. And then they cleaned up the board a little bit, and now he's back at OpenAI.
But I guarantee there's going to be a Netflix like limited series about this in like, I don't know, 2 months. So we can just watch it play out then.
I mean, going back and trusting them again is a big leap of faith.
Yeah. And I think that we are definitely going to see some interesting things come out of that change. I'm choosing to kind of stay away from a lot of AI because I think that a lot of it doesn't make sense yet. And, we're still kind of looking at a lot of those pieces of the puzzle. But I think that there is, obviously, anytime there's like major CEO drama that way, or board drama, or anything like that, it's a great soap opera. Don't get me wrong. There were some very excellent episodes of the Vergecast and Nilay Patel's Decoder podcast on this subject, and they were like, we don't even know if we need to record this today. It might be tomorrow, and then several emergency episodes of various podcasts over the
Yeah.
issue. But
But
Sturm
what
and Drang.
But what I'm hearing, kind of in the various, like back channels, is that a lot of women who are in AI don't even want to touch that company with a 10, 20-foot pole. It's
Oh.
not very woman friendly at the moment. So, the fact that they had a woman, so they had a woman CEO temporarily. They
She was
kicked
their
her out.
CTO prior to that. So
Yeah.
she was not an outside hire. She was an
No.
internal promotion that they then, rescinded
Mhm.
almost immediately.
But then when they redid their board, there were no women on it.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah. Anyway, I think that there's a lot to reflect on as to whether or not those kind of organizations are viable when there's that much turnover and when there's that much elimination of differing viewpoints.
when there's no diversity, you have the potential to introduce a lot of bias into your models when
Yep.
you don't have varying experience, varying age, ethnicity, and how you identify. There's just way too many opportunities to not do the right thing. Okay, so Rishi, I just wanted to bring up some of those issues. Please continue.
There's one last one, which will hopefully just be like a slightly less of a downer, but I think it's a little sad, but Google's best Gemini demo was faked for TechCrunch. So a video called Hands On with Gemini, interacting with multimodal AI, hit 1 million views over the last day. And apparently it was a really impressive demo, which highlights some of the favorite interactions with Gemini, showing how the multimodal model, i.e. something that understands and mixes language and visual understanding, can be flexible and responsive to a variety of inputs, but the video wasn't real. So there's a quote that says, "We created the demo by capturing footage in order to test Gemini's capabilities on a wide range of challenges. Then we prompted Gemini using still image frames from the footage and prompting via text." So, it's kind of like building a fancy UI and then you have to go in the back end and change the code to make it do something for the demo. So that's kind of disappointing because everyone was really excited about it. But good for the person that found out and called it out and had them give a statement, because we don't need more people faking things on the internet. Really, I think I'm over it.
I just
Says the
don't
girl with a
believe.
fake background.
Well, that's always it, right? In a lot, and there's a hard line that we end up having to walk in a lot of these conversations around what's viable, what's functional, what's structural, and what's real. And it's always better. And it was gonna say, it's always better when you can back things up with a demonstration that's real. And if you're gonna procedurally generate a bunch of things for your demonstration, and put your finger on the scale, folks aren't going to trust you after that. I know, especially if it's just marketing, that's special effects, that's other things along those lines. As a PM, that's never what I want to build. I always want to build things I can demo and show off, like we've talked about Ava today, and that we can show you under the hood works, instead of having to rely on a fake demo. If you got to fake your demo, let it bake a little longer till you can.
And as being part of marketing, I really resent that, because we try really hard to be honest in our marketing. We don't fake things. And you can tell here on the IT Hour, as many as many prayers to the demo gods as we do and sacrifices and some of the technical issues we have. We're doing a live demo when we say we're doing a live demo. It because there's usually like a little bit of, oh, is this going to work? Because, we're trying to do the real thing here. And it is frustrating. I feel like majority of the time, I don't believe most of what I see anymore on the internet. Even things like, facts about a certain historical famous person. I'm like, is this really true? Or do I need to go do my research to figure out if all these, fun facts are actually real? It's gotten to that point to where I don't believe most of that stuff now. So kind of,
There is a whole category of misinformation that has been deemed WhatsApp University, which is like, older people who are, new to like getting information online. They're not used to verifying things, and they're getting all these like messages on WhatsApp saying like, oh, if you face your bed to the northeast direction on a Sunday at midnight, your family will make money or whatever. Like it's oh my God, it's the whole thing. But coming back to the product demos, I feel like what's really sad is that some of the biggest like tech disasters that you read about or you learn about are because somebody was under like an unrealistic deadline. Somebody said like this has to be done, and so somebody else cut the corners, and then stuff like this happens. But at least this was just a demo and it didn't actually hurt anybody, but those things have happened too.
yeah. My kiddo has a good, healthy skepticism because they're always telling me stuff that they saw and they're like, oh, that's not true, or I don't believe it. And they go do their own research and look at more reliable sources just to double check. And they'll send me things.
We're trying to cultivate that in Charlie. And, he's a little younger. And he hasn't grown that sense of skepticism yet, which I'm sure, will come with time.
Yeah. Well, my oldest is 16 now. So they've had a lot of, classes in high school and stuff where they try to teach them proper research, and they'll send me things that are just like, oh, and then they get into arguments with people on the internet. And that's what I'm trying to teach them. I'm like, it's not worth the time. It's like this saying I used to hear when I was growing up. It's like, don't wrestle with a pig. You'll get dirty and the pig will like it.
Yes, correct.
So
always a good place to I mean, I think that's a life lesson we should all take with us this Friday, and really go into the weekend with that, and enjoy it. So
yeah, arguing with people on the internet is it's a waste of time. You're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change yours. And it's going to increase your cortisol and your just anxiety. And it's never worth it. It never is. Oh, we do have Brett. Yes, you're right. I am from Missouri. So yes, we talk about just funny phrases like that. So I
also like Matt's comment, which says, "Don't trust everything you see on the internet." Quote from Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. So Stephen has a question. I'm going to read it, but then Tom is asking him to email him.
Yep.
So, saw that Chocolatey is being sunset. Has there been any announcement about what the future of software management will look like inside of JumpCloud?
Well, obviously what we said was there will be a conversation in 2024 about sunsetting Chocolatey and what we intend to do in terms of getting rid of that, software management system, because it is not perfect for what we want to use it for. It is community-based for definitions, which makes it easy to adopt new things, but maybe not the most secure solution if those community repos are, subject to challenge. So, I think that one of the things that we're looking at is how do we do that better? How do we make that a better experience for our customers? How do we make that a better experience for their security teams? And not to mention the fact that really Chocolatey in the community edition isn't meant for commercial use. And some of the licensing language that, Chocolatey is updated there has really kind of called that into question. So we are exploring a lot of different great opportunities. Some of them based on storefronts, some of them based on internal definitions that are defined by Jump Cloud. We're going to have a lot more to say in 2024. So I'll ask you to stay tuned and drop me email so that we can talk about it. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for staying over a little bit. And we appreciate you. Next week, we are scheduled to have our CEO, Raj, on the show with us. We're going to do kind of a wrap up of the year and maybe talk a little bit about next year. So looking forward to that. It's always a good thing when one of our executives has time to join us. And
Mhm.
Raj really loves our community. So he always likes to make time for that. So that's going to be great. And John, thank you again for joining us.
Yes.
We really liked having you and hearing about Ava and all the great things that are going on. So thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. And
We'll
we
have
will
you
see
back
you.
when there's new features.
Yes, that'd be great. And we will see you all next week. And then we will be on a break for the rest of the year. So last chance to join us. Don't forget to put in those holiday wish lists. All right. I see Tom already has. So
Mhm.
we'll be looking forward to more. All right. See y'all next week.
Thanks, friends. Bye.